Hey, good morning, and how are you guys doing today? I hope amazing. So, as you guys know, we've been knocking out this free Harvard class on edX. If you're looking to take a free course from Harvard, you simply go in and you type in Google or whatever, you know, search engine you're using, free Harvard courses. It's going to come up with a list. They're absolutely an interesting long list of options, which is kind of nice. The one we took was their leadership course, Exercising Leadership Foundational Principles. Um, I will let you know, last night I knocked out the end of it, just so you guys know. I guess they would like us to participate in feedback, so I'm going to do that real quick. I actually did think that this was a good course. I would recommend taking a course to a friend and a colleague. Here's what I'm going to let you guys know though. I already had taken leadership courses in the past, um, several of them actually. And so here's what I'm going to let you know. If you're on free, you can only access 88% of the actual content. You're not able to take the tests and stuff like that. These whole, see how that's barred off? All of these 5 point ones, which is a significant amount of your points, you're not able to access in the free version, and you also don't get to take the tests. So what ends up happening is you can complete 88% of the content, but you can actually only earn a 60%, which is what's required for passing grade. Um, in it, honestly, a 60% I really find is an unacceptable score. I'm not really willing to pay for the course to get the certification on it. I already have leadership certificates and stuff, so I didn't really think that there was a super high value for me paying for it, to be honest. Um, as an overall course, I'm going to let you guys know I was super kind of let down on the difficulty level of it. It's actually, I wouldn't call it a course if I were Harvard, to be honest. Sorry, I'm trying to find the volume on this device and turn it down. I felt that this course was super freaking easy. Didn't actually have very dense information at all. I remember that they had estimated it was going to take us some reasonably long amount of time. Me doing this in a relaxed manner, casually with you guys, like 1 hour, 3 days, and then me touching it a couple times outside of that, we were finished. So the full time on this course was about 6 hours ish for me. Even with their tests and their other little assignments in here, these little discuss this stuff yourself things, you can do them. They're super freaking short. Like, legitimately, there's they're blocking us from access to this part up here. But I don't feel that it would have been some kind of complicated thing. The information that they gave was at a super low level of understanding, to be honest, in my opinion. Um, Ripped through it pretty fast. I did think that there was some good information in it. It is definitely not a college level course in leadership, um, in my opinion. I mean, like, it is because it's Harvard having this course, so it obviously is a, in their opinion, college level course, I guess. But it was definitely less information than any of my previous leadership courses that I've ever actually took at a college, and or leadership development type seminars that I've went to before. I felt that they didn't go into the actual derived different types of leadership, the amount that normally has gone into. They overly simplified it into the versions of leading with authority that's basically given to you, so positional type authority and stuff like that, or non-authorized authority. Most courses actually break it down into more groups than that, so it was that part I definitely thought was simplified. They didn't actually give you a lot of techniques at all. In fact, the lack of techniques in this was amazing. They focused more on like stakeholder charts and organizational charts, which that's always in a leadership course and stuff. But a lot of times leadership courses will have sections on body language, on cultivating trust, on restoring trust, on identifying team players, allies, stuff like that. Um, I didn't feel that they did a good job on that. Honestly, it's a good course if you know nothing about leadership and you're like, hey, I would like a basic leadership type um, understanding. I would definitely say that's part of the goodness of it. I'm gonna click through here. We'll see if there's highlights that I thought were of value. Just to be honest, because I ripped through this pretty fast the other night. Um, it just is. It's low information as a course, guys. Just so you guys know, in almost all these cases. So on this stuff, I didn't strongly agree. I didn't like the wording of some of their stuff because I thought that it was overly vague and left to too much interpretation. That's the other issue I had. Um, but not a biggie. So I do have some complaints about this. I didn't think that this was a very challenging course. And in all honesty, when I started taking a Harvard course, I thought it was going to be more challenging. I'm going to click this. This will have the components of trust. They go over it, but they don't go over any trust development techniques or there's just some
Trust is the
things
essential
missing.
connector. We all live interdependently and have to look to one another to fulfill routine services and help each other every day. That
Adjust in my
means the
chair.
management of trust is central to all realms of personal and professional life, including the practices of management and leadership. Trust is the pivot point or fulcrum. In
This is
an
true.
authority relationship, we have power on one side and services on the other. When we confer power on an authority figure, we do so because we believe she will provide us with certain valued services in return. These beliefs are based on our predictions along two key dimensions. In practice, it's important to manage these two key components of people's trust: their assessment of your values and your competence. To trust a person, it's usually critical that we believe that their heart is in the right place, that their values orient them toward performing with integrity to provide the services that we've asked for.
Hey, killing
But
them
having shared
softly. Hey,
values
how you
isn't
doing?
enough.
I
Even
hope
if
you're having a
someone has
great
a heart
day.
of gold, we also need to believe that they have the knowledge and skills and overall competence to do their job well. So when we entrust people with authority, we expect both shared values and competence. One without the other isn't enough. We don't want a doctor with fine values if he has lost his former competence. And we don't want a doctor who is enormously competent but performs unnecessary surgeries to make money. We can lose our trust in people, and we lose people's trust in us for either reason: a sense of shared values or a belief in
I
one's
do like this
competence
guy.
that has been betrayed. We are all very
Oh,
sensitive to trust and to the betrayal of trust. If we were born into this world with our adult capacity
yeah,
for
I don't let
independence, we might
losing
not be very
pad
sensitive to those
and
situations
entropia mess
when
with
a
my
person
emos
fails to
either.
keep their side of the bargain. We might easily take it in stride that someone overestimated their capacity or made some other mistake. But we are born into this world experiencing trust in the most intimate and immediate of ways, totally dependent and naturally trusting. And we continue to depend on others every single
I'm
day
gonna
throughout our
go over
long
this guy's thing
childhoods
when
and adult
he's done
lives.
with the talky talk stuff.
Perhaps this is why violations and abuses of trust are so disturbing. When people in positions of authority fail to deliver on their promises, we don't merely take it in stride. We can feel enormous anger and resentment. We lose our trust in them. In fact, betrayal is one of the most intensely painful human experiences. If key people in our lives, or enough people,
Good
violate our
morning,
trust,
Avallonis. I hope you're having a great
we can
day.
accumulate scars that then limit our capacity to give authority to others, as well as to take and practice authority ourselves.
Okay, so just to discuss what he said, what he said is all fundamentally true stuff. Like obviously, once trust has been violated, it's more complex to restore it and stuff like that. Here's my issue with this leadership course, right? After saying how important being able to establish trust is, after stating that once trust is violated, it's super hard to restore, there are no tactics or techniques of developing or restoring trust that are even talked about. Like, I get you um, that it's a short course, blah, blah, blah. It's a course about leadership, and it actually teaches very little actual technique of being a good leader. I mean, it does talk about some stuff. So somebody's going to get on here and be like, blah, blah, blah. It was such a great course. But great. I'm going to tell you, they have not took a lot of leadership courses, and they're obviously pretty new at being a leader. And that's just straight up. And somebody can defend themselves and try to say blah 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 that they now, if you've led an organization of any kind for any substantial amount of time, um, you would have found a significant gap between the subjects they're discussing and the amount of applicable, usable information that can be deployed towards a specific scenario. I'm not saying that there are no techniques given in this. And so if you have a super low level of current leadership ability, this could be a profound, oh my gosh, paradigm shift for you. I hope not. I hope that you have a little bit more um, experience than that already. But if not, that's great because everybody starts somewhere. And if this is a profound course for you, that is awesome. I'm glad you're having a profound experience. I would suggest grabbing some more books on leadership. Um, I don't normally promote, well, I do like to promote a lot of books actually. Let me see if I can find one of the books that I have usually sitting around my house because it's a super good one for techniques. And then I'm going to discuss another book that's likely going to be a better one for leadership type direct info. One, The Laws of Power. If you guys haven't read The Laws of Power, it's not a morally, oh, I think that this is the greatest way to live life and act. But I will tell you the information in the Laws of Power. I'll pull that up real quick. I think it's 48 Laws of Power, or maybe it's 42. 42. It's probably 42. 48. It is 48. So this 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. In fact, a lot of the Robert Greene books in general, um, they're amazing. Like, I'm not going to tell you they're going to make you a nicer person, but if you're trying to have power, control, and stuff like that, um, the laws of power do teach you enough dynamics and interpersonal psychology to be able to functionally, if you use them correctly, actually lead better. I know that sounds weird, but laws of power and power dynamic has a lot to do with leadership. The other book I will always suggest to people, and I suggest this book to anybody, I don't get a cut out of it, It's by Jack Schaefer, PhD, and Marvin Carls, PhD. It's written also. One of them is an well, somebody involved in this book is an ex FBI agent that basically his job was to attract, influence, and win people over, flip them basically for the feds. This is called The Like Switch. I will tell you, you can see this baby's been flipped through, right? This is a used book. This book not only tells you how to spot facial, like, it tells you how to read body language, adjust your own body language, and have a better control factor when it comes to what you're nonverbally saying and understanding nonverbal cues in others so that you know when you've stepped over a line without them having to say so. So you, let's just say this book is a super good guide. I would tell anybody, if you want to have a better relationship or be a better leader, understanding nonverbal communication and how that interacts within people is super important. I would literally tell you this book and the laws of power combined with an ethical application, and I mean an ethical because I'm going to let you know, once people you're in charge of figure out that you're unethically leading them, your leadership with them is over. It's tainted, it's soured, it's almost impossible to restore. Now, the best way to not have that happen is to have your own ethical compass and keep yourself in check to where you're not using what you know to abuse people in some way. So we're going to listen to their definition of maladaptive or their section on maladaptive dependence.
Authority relationships provide the building blocks that make it possible for us to build incredibly diverse organizations. They enable us to address the complex social coordination problems that we face every day. However, things don't always operate well. In a changing world, authority relationships can lose the flexibility and adaptability they need and become rigid, or be so degraded by distrust and factionalism that social cohesion is lost and
All
chaos
this is
ensues.
true.
Organizations, communities, and societies then risk dying out. Dysfunctions of authority can develop in multiple ways. In one set of ways, people fall into a state of maladaptive dependence. They have too little faith in themselves or put too much trust in others. As we grow up, we all initially defer by nature and
I
then by
feel we
habit
all put
to
too much
elders in
trust
authority.
in the current
But sometimes we never break
authorities.
out of the habit and realize that we are the source of a person's authoritative powers, that we have agency. We become vulnerable to people whose trust we need to renegotiate. We've sometimes learned to accept too little from our authority figures. We may need to find our voice and organize a collective voice with others to change the social contract with those in authority and make more demands.
Jean-Jacques
Jean-Jacques
Rousseau is a pimp.
We may
One of
need
the
to discover
coolest
the
guys
radical
I've ever
principle
read
articulated by the French
philosophy from.
political philosopher
Guy's a
Jean-Jacques Rousseau
genius.
back in 1762, just before the American and French revolutions. In his theory of the social contract, Rousseau suggested that in authority relationships, even in a monarchy, authority figures are the agents of the citizens. In a kingdom, skilled kings and queens know that their power is contingent on the informal authorization of citizens and a dominant coalition of interested parties. Lose that authorization and you may lose your kingdom and your life. To renegotiate the social contract and claim the informal authorizing power that is ours as citizens of a country or members of an organization, we often need to organize or join a group, an association, a social movement, a labor union, or engage in political action to give strength to our voice. Another kind of maladaptive dependence we can fall into is not because we expect too little of ourselves, but because we expect too much of others and are willing to entrust our authorities with tremendous
Oh,
power
let me
over
click
our
my
lives
light on.
out
I
of
was
faith that
wondering,
these
I'm
high
like, all dark
expectations
is.
will be met. Particularly in desperate times, people will look for magic, and those vying for authority may offer fake promises and easy answers. Our exaggerated expectations create a marketplace for charlatans and make it very tough for even good people in authority to get real with us and be trustworthy.
So all of this is fundamentally true. And obviously, we all see that the more crazy the world gets, the more crazy we're willing to go with for seeking some kind of stability or answer to the universe. That's fact. But he gave very little. I mean, obviously, we already answered that stuff. I already answered it, but we'll just click for it. It's already let me. Oh, did they just time us out on this? Oh, so I guess our access to this has just expired, or maybe not. Maybe it's that it's having an error. I don't know. We'll find out. Oh, so yeah, this morning it expired. I did let you guys hear as much as we're going to. Obviously, if we would have waited till today to decide to finish this off, boom, it would have been shut down. Um, so at this point, we'll just discuss it. I didn't think that there was a high enough level of actual information given on techniques at all. Um, there's great discussions in it, some good info. He does give some techniques later. Excuse me. He does give some techniques later on in what I was gonna click through. So guys, just for the facts, as we would have moved forward, there would have been a section in which he had like 8 bullet point discussions on what you could do in this scenario and things you could use. They were very true, but they were on a lower level of understanding of development techniques, to be honest. I mean, they were okay, and I thought they were interesting, but they were ones that most of you guys would probably be able to come up with just based on common sense on your own. In some cases, they were good on a couple sections where I was like, this is a reasonably filled out section of techniques, but they were kind of like, well, I just didn't think it went very deep at all into skills and techniques or anything, to be honest. Um, that's my opinion, of course, I guess. I'm not going to automatically just jump on another one of these. It is nice knowing that whatever they estimate the time of it going to take, it's absolutely probably way shorter than that, just so you guys know. Um, Outside of that, let's discuss this Friday. Um, this Friday, we're going to start writing our sci fi book, of course. I'm super excited about that. They've cut us off on this. We've already finished it through, though, to the point that they'll let us without paying for it. So at that point, we'll just be like, okay, we'll move forward. Later on, I do want to come back and see if the art of persuasive writing and public speaking is actually good. I've actually had public speaking courses in the past. Um, and I've had to do persuasive writing and political science courses and stuff like that before. So that should be interesting. I don't know if we'll learn something new, but I'll be able to tell you if it's actually hey, this is a dense class, or if it's not really that persuasive at all. Um, Straight up, you guys, I am going to let you know if you are trying to develop your leadership skills, you probably really do want this book, The Light Switch. It's absolutely a great book. You want to read the 48 Laws of Power. Honestly, Robert Greene's book, The Art of Seduction, also an amazing book. So I'm not telling you guys to go out there, read Robert Greene's The Art of Seduction, and go out seducing every person here and there. But I'm going to let you know for relationship dynamics, for understanding um, a whole bunch about what's going on in your own personal life. Um, the Art of Seduction is a fascinating, fascinating book. Now, I'm not telling you seduction, though, is only I'm a dude and I want to get in this girl's pants type stuff. We seduce people in many ways. And so you have to seduce people. Seducing is just to make them malleable to your wants and desires. That could be perceived as, hey, I'm attempting to get into somebody's pants. It could also be that you're just seducing them into an idea or into an action that you're desiring to be took. So seduction, as weird as it is a huge component of effective leadership because it can take a person that is not really wanting to do something and it can seduce them or make them malleable to where then they do want to do something. And that's important in getting people to carry out their tasks. The other thing I'll tell you about the art of seduction that I found very good, it has some valid points that in a long-term relationship, we do need to reseduce the person we love again and again. Like a person should be in a constant state of being seduced by each other because you're going to have waning moments and you're going to have rising moments. And at some point, maybe the other person is a little bit on you and just sick of your crap. And so to be constantly in a state of seducing each other over and over again kind of allows you to keep a renewed balance in your relationship in which it's being renewed again and again and rejuvenated. And so, even if you're not single, I know this is shocking, it's good to know how to seduce because then you can apply that to the person that already loves you or likes you or whatever. And it actually is a profound power. It allows you to rekindle a relationship and not allow it to just grow stale and sour. And so I would suggest the artist, honestly, Robert Greene, if you like a lot of his works, and I know a lot of people have negative viewpoints on him because of that whole 48 laws of power. The 48 laws of power, it's pretty brutal. I mean, like it doesn't mess around. It's straight up, hey, this. But you want to read it anyway. And here's the deal. For one, it's going to let you know what to look for because some people are going to have read the 48 laws of power. They're going to be using it and they could be using it on you and you have no clue. If you don't know, you do not know, right? And so just having that understanding of power dynamics to the point of where you can be like, wait, I think this guy's using this specific technique out of the laws of power. Um, it's super important, guys. It allows you to put up those red flags. And once you've read and consumed information into yourself, you might not realize how much you'll start spotting it. But once you know about something, it's everywhere, right? So, like, you go and you read a body language book, you read The Laws of Power, you read The Art of Seduction. Not only will you have a better versatility in what you can control in your own life through those techniques, but all of a sudden, you're going to notice that all of that stuff is occurring naturally around you in a just this very fascinating myriad of activity. Like it is fascinating. You'll see people like pining over somebody. You'll see that. I mean, you'll see all kinds of activity, and it just opens your world up. Just having that information, I think it's super important. This is a reasonable course, but it lacks the wealth of information that you need to actually carry it out. I mean, yeah, it throws you some org charts out. Yeah, it gives you a few techniques. If you're running an organization on a super low level, this might be enough to get you by. It's better than nothing for sure, right? Going in with nothing. But guys, if you're a leader or if you're a business executive, or even if you're just trying to have greater control of your own life, you probably do want to, yes, take a course like this if you have no exposure at all. Um, but you're going to want to read a wealth of stuff on interpersonal communication, nonverbal communication, on, well, basically everything. Philosophy books, guys. Philosophy books for sure. Jean Jacques Rousseau, brilliant dude. Um, it's going to help you to understand philosophically where power is derived and where power is abused. He doesn't go a lot into leadership techniques, but brilliant guy. He's just worth it, period. Good morning, Kilman. How are you doing today? I hope amazing. So we got through this course. If you don't pay for the course, you don't get to take the test. That literally leaves you with 12% that you do not have access to in this course, but that actually leaves you with 40% of the grade not being able to get. So a huge part of the grade that you get from this course is literally revolved around if you pay for the course. So you can take all the content and stuff like that. They they basically weigh that to 60% of the course's value. So I did knock it out. I finished it up to 60%. It literally took somewhere between 6 to 8 hours. It was supposed to take a little bit more than that, but it is what it is. It's supposed to take a lot more than that, guys. Let's just be honest. Um, Not really going to jump on any of these. One of my bachelor's degrees, is in entrepreneurship and business. One of them, it's a BBA in entrepreneurship or entrepreneurial business type thing. And so I don't think I would learn a lot about that, to be honest. Um, so let's discuss books. Friday, we're going to be writing a book, not the whole book. So the idea right now, and I'm going to tell you guys basically the concept part of it. I don't have the full concept yet. So we're going to be in a uh, dark sci-fi. It's going to be a dark fantasy sci-fi. We're going to basically kill a lot of the characters that we develop. They're not going to have a long lifespan. And better than that, I'm not really going to know which characters outside of like the ones that are like core characters that are going to die. I've got dice over here, so we're going to get to certain points and we're just going to roll a dice. That's going to allow us to find out which character we write into death. We're going to attempt to make sure that we do some kind of backwriting anytime we're going to kill a character to make sure that there's some kind of emotional attachment to the passing of our character, whether that's we hate the character and we're glad that they're dead, or we like the character and it's a woo-woo heartbreak because, oh my gosh, I can't believe you killed it. The reality is, Friday we'll start brainstorming. This day is also going to be converted over to the we're writing the book. So 2 days a week we're going to be writing this book. I already have our Nook account created so that like we don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. Click this. We'll get off this Harvard thing. We'll go to boom scene setup. Yeah, that's that's a little right up in my face. But basically, we're going to be doing book writing. That's the now tomorrow, of course, is going to be Italian. I'm still, you know, not doing great on it. Yesterday, because I was trying to wrap up that course before I deadlined, I actually had to knock it out, so I didn't do any of the Italian last night. Today, I will be doing Italian. I will also be on Entropia yet later. I'm not going to be streaming. I'm going to just be on hanging out, trying to take care of people's stuff, um, you know, gathering wood, stuff like that. Um, so basically, here's what's going to be in it. We're going to have a bunch of races, like from elves, humans, to a whole strata of genetically manipulated or brought about almost subspecies of humans that are chimeric, with different creatures. So that's going to be a little wild. I haven't decided exactly how far we're going on that. We're going to have ghouls, not zombies. Zombies are boring, and I don't like them. They're not fast enough or mean enough. They're not smart. We're gonna have smart ghouls. That's a big thing. Um, we're gonna have horrors, and I'm not talking about like H.P. Lovecraft. He does a great job on his horrors and stuff like that. There's a channel called Tell Foundry that's a writing source that actually does a great job on breaking down like an anathema and stuff like that, which, by the way, that's just something that cannot be described. So it is really complicated to be able to describe the indescribable, right? Because by the very definition of indescribable, you can't describe it. So we're going to have a lot of anathema type creatures that are left to be more amorphous in nature. Um, that's going to be a function of our universe. What else? It's going to be pretty much mankind and everything. The galaxy as a whole got its butt wiped at one point. That's going to be. So we're going to have an emerging from the cave type thing, right? Which is not going to be a cave, obviously, right? And then we're going to have the whole, like, you know how in medieval stuff, the dark forest was the foreboding place of mystery and the unknown. Well, we're going to be dark foresting space, which is reasonable. I mean, like, space is the last dark forest. It's the last place in which we cannot peer into and see definitively what we're dealing with or what we should foresee as a threat. And so it has the potential to provide anything we want, right? And so the basic backdrop that I've got so far, and a lot of the brainstorming is going to be, hey, Firebug, I hope you're having a great day. A lot of the brainstorming is going to be this Friday, but Fridays and Wednesdays we're knocking out a book. I don't think it's going to take us very long. I've never wrote a book, but I've wrote a lot of papers, you guys. A lot of papers. Um, so many papers that my college at one point, the university I was going to, had to give me more capacity on my account for memory so that I could keep writing and storing things, which is kind of funny, but I was pretty proud of that, forcing them to have to give me more memory on my account to be able to continue writing papers while I was going through school. I was in school way too long. I wasn't in a hurry. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, the university lifestyle is freaking epic. Uh, and so I was super naughty about not being in a hurry, hence the multiple degrees while I was there. Um, kind of was pleasant. It was a fun experience. And if I had unlimited money, I'm going to let you know, I'd be still taking random courses from the college. I just, have to deal with real life at the same exact time and manage stuff and do all kinds of reality stuff, you know. And college is a great way to suspend reality while you're learning stuff to apply in reality. But in all honesty, you got to get out there and do stuff too. So let's think. I don't really know what else to say about it except that we're gonna dump a whole bunch of information into a book. Now, as we develop the world, the first thing we're going to do is develop the world that we're going to backdrop in, right? Then we're going to write the story. That world that we develop, um, as long as people comply to the rules of the universe that we derive, I don't care who writes a book in it. Like, it literally not going to affect me. Nothing we're going to make up is going to be some new thing to mankind. You see what I'm saying? Like, almost everything that exists already either has existed or has been said before. We're not going to say something so profound that it's like, oh my gosh, I need to restrict who can do this. That's just ridiculous. A lot of the concepts we're going to be using are going to be drawn from other people's cultural past. Like, I've been watching a crapload of Romanian folklore. I did study a good amount of Assyrian type legend. I did study a good amount of Babylonians type stuff. If there's not sound coming into my thing for some reason, my headphones think they need to turn themselves off after so much time. I don't know why that is. It's okay. It's a function of the headphones or something. So basically, the concept is that we will be taking and drawing on a lot of other people's work, including like almost all sci-fis themselves. They draw on, I think it's the Neuromancer series is the basic, the origin of cybernetics. You know what I mean? Like hacking with a plug to plug into a computer and go into a computer. So we're going to have neuromancy or cybermancy, whichever term you want to use. Um, we're also going to have, well, we're going to have a lot of magic. A lot of magic, some psionics. I like psionics. I don't know if you guys know what psionics is, but that's your telepathy, your telekinesis, your pyrokinetics, and stuff like that. That's all good stuff. Obviously, all that stuff's been in other people's books. Elves have been in other people's books, guys. So, like, we're not taking in and making something new. We're taking a whole lot of what is and we're weaving it in a new way to tell a story. And the best part that I think we can do is that we're not going to try to control the story. I have no idea how it ends exactly because we haven't made it up. I've got my bag of dice right here. I've got it out. Boom, bag of dice. Check this out. We got options. We've got 20-sided dice, we've got 10-sided dice, we got 4-sided dice. It doesn't matter what amount of people enter the room. We can roll a dice, we can find out who dies. I mean, but then realize that I'm going to have to go back and write in a section to give you some kind of affinity to the character if it hasn't already been established. And I'm going to just let you know, just because somebody likes a character doesn't mean that we're not going to kill him. It doesn't mean we're going to kill him either. Just so you, I'm not like, anytime I establish that one of you guys likes a character, that guy's dead. That's not what I'm saying. I'm going to leave it up to I don't know what's going to happen because I feel we get a better story leaving an error of unknowing. So we'll develop the world, establish the rules of the world. Then we're going to develop the characters that are going to start in and a overall story arc. Now it's just going to be the arc. Hey, Iverson, I hope you're having a great day. So once we've established the arc of, thank you very much, Sons 90. Once we establish the character overarching thing, the world and everything like that, we'll start writing. The first draft is going to be trash. It might not be that good. I'm okay with that. So, literally, if you listen to a lot of the interviews and stuff like that by the guy that did the Kingdom of Fire and Ice and stuff, or a few others, they literally go over the fact that that's the point of your first draft, is it's trash. So then we're going to read the first draft and we're going to figure out exactly what we don't like about it. And we're going to fix that crap. That's going to be our second draft. Then, third draft, we're going to blow this baby up. We're going to expound it even bigger. Because that's when we have to make it better. Fourth draft, not going to be a lot of changes, but there will be changes because we'll realize like, hey, you established this in chapter 3 by saying this, and all of a sudden by chapter 9, you're just breaking your own rules. Okay, that's why there's another draft. So we go back and we figure out what would make that make sense at that point, right? So we're looking at 5 drafts before we literally go through and I make somebody spell check and grammar check me that's not like emotionally involved in the story. Because see, here's the problem. When you're writing, I don't know if you guys have ever done this, you always know what you're trying to say. So anything you write says what you think it says because you knew what you were trying to say. The random dude sitting there has no idea what you were trying to say, so that when they read that, they might not interpret it the same. They might not hear what you knew you were trying to say. So then we got to make sure that we actually said what we're trying to say in our piece. Now, this shouldn't be a big deal. It should go fast. Um, but in all honesty, there's a chance that I get through a whole section, and because we all knew what we were trying to say with that section, it all sounded perfectly logical. But then all of a sudden, we have somebody that wasn't involved with the writing read it, right? A proofreader. And they're like, hey, this section you got here, it makes no freaking sense. You see what I'm saying, though, right? It's just how it is. It's very easy to believe that you said something because you knew where you were coming from. And then this other person's hearing the information and they're like, I have no idea what this guy's talking about. So to avoid that, we're just going to simply have a external person that has not actually been involved in the writing read it. I know a lot of people that are cool. They'll read it for us. They won't be involved in the writing. After that, we come back. That's when we get that fifth draft. That fifth draft that's already read through and everything by somebody. That's when we've fixed all that. We made sure it actually said what we were trying to convey. By the way, we're not trying to convey some deep stuff. I'm going to be honest. I tried to explain this. Something done, even half but, is better than the thing that is perfect but only in your mind. If it's always just going to be only in your mind, I'm going to let you know the guy that skips something under the door has beat you. Just straight up. And that's with anything. I don't care if you guys are thinking about some invention, but you're like, well, it's not perfect. It is, I guarantee, more perfect than the perfect thing in your mind that never happens. Like, that's just the rule of life. Like, once it's actually being done, that's actually better than just the stuff in your head. And on top of that, once the idea hits the road, it all of a sudden, holy crap, that's when you start really seeing the flaws in it and other things. So, just so you guys know, we got a big field goal area. I've tried to explain this. We're not aiming for Shakespeare, but if we hit Shakespeare, we'd be happy. So, the goal is somewhere between Sharknado and Shakespeare. That allows you to be simply relaxed about it because you're not trying to like paradigm shift some stuff. You're not trying to like write the next Great Gatsby or something like that. Which, by the way, I didn't think the Great Gatsby was like super. Actually, a lot of those books aren't that good. I don't know if you guys. A lot of the classic literature is boring as crap. I'm gonna just be straight honest with you guys. Like super boring and like really really drab descriptions and stuff like that. I honestly don't understand why they're considered so good, but that's just me. Maybe it's just me. Somebody will be saying our book isn't that good. Psh, I don't care as much. I mean, it'll be good because we're gonna write it and we're gonna make it good. But somewhere between Sharknado and Shakespeare is our goal. We don't have a name for our book. Honestly, not worried about a name for the book yet because we don't even know what the story is. We just kind of know that it's going to be in space. There's going to be magic. There's going to be psionics. There's going to be a bunch of races. It's going to be like the space, but post-apocalyptic space, guys. We're 100% going to create a post-apocalyptic space odyssey. I don't know if that makes sense to you. I hope so. Um, Tomorrow morning, I'm going to be back on with Entropia Universe. Well, not Entropia Universe in the morning. In the afternoon, Entropia Universe. In the morning, we'll be learning Italian. Today, later on, I'll be on Entropia Universe to try to take care of things and stuff like that. I'm on Planet Tolan, of course. Um, Outside of that, I guess I'm gonna probably call it about 10 minutes early because without starting to write the book, we kind of, I don't know what to say, like to be honest. But we are gonna do 5 drafts on a book. We'll write up all this, the ideas and rules. And by the way, if any of you guys feel like, yeah, I like space magic and ghouls and stuff. The ghouls are probably going to be part of a military project in which, of course, a corrupt military or, corporate faction has derived the ghouls as some kind of military option, because that's normal. I think, right? We all know it was the evil corporate scientist in almost all sci-fis that was working for a government project. So since that's a trope already, like let's keep it to like it's probably gonna be a evil corporate military industrial complex scientist that is responsible for creating the ghouls. But this is where we start getting into where we're writing the story right there, right? Because that's going to be a section of the story where we explain that the evil military industrial complex scientist was responsible for creating this horrific thing. You know what I'm saying? But we are post apocalyptic space. And I've got a way to do it. That's going to be a lot involving trans-dimensional space horrors. I know, right? You guys are like, what? Yes. Multi-dimensional. It's multi-dimensional. We're not like our space, and then there's going to be subspace and other dimensions and horrible creatures and like I'm really excited about them making up horrible creatures. Some of them will be just drawing on the ancient mythos from ancient time and like the scary things that they thought were scary. Some of it we probably will just make up some crap. I mean, that's kind of the point of writing a fiction book is you're just making up some crap, right? So real quick before I go, I'm gonna raid over to somebody on Entropia Universe. Let me find out who all is actually Entropia Universing real quick. Whew, looks like a lot of people are Entropia Universing. Um, always see this. This is always when it's what are we doing thing, right? Okay, let me see what everybody's doing so I can judge better on what to do. Because I like to see the people are active playing. If they're active playing, it makes much more sense to raid onto them. Okay, I'm gonna raid on to King Ads. He seems pleasant. He seems like a very friendly dude. He's doing hunting. I do want to thank you guys very much for hanging out. Remember, tomorrow we're practicing Italian, and then in the afternoon we're Entropy and Universing. And then Friday morning we're starting writing a book. It'll be exciting. We kind of already started, but yeah. Peace, very best wishes, and you guys stay epic. Oh, I forgot that there was a countdown. See, this is me forgetting little things like a countdown. This is why we're glad that books give us like the opportunity to have unlimited drafts. You guys have a great day. Peace and very best wishes.